What's going on, conquistadors? It is Scotty the Chunky Spaniard. Welcome back to Round Like Me. And as promised, it is time for Storytime Sunday. Stories on the Sunday. I think Storytime Sunday sounds a lot better. Sound may be a little weird because I'm in my hotel room just after we had FBELive at the YouTube Space LA. They're never going to see this, but thank you YouTube Space LA for hosting. That was amazing. It was great, and they always do such a great job at events and things like that. And big thanks to the Vine Brothers and their entire staff and crew who really have become a family, past and present, people that have moved on to other things and other projects, and this wouldn't be possible without all of you guys. And I had a blast in getting to hang out with everybody, you know, from the kids and all the kids, and seeing, you know, Sydney and Lucas and Caden, and then the teens, and then the former teens that I watched. They're kind of like legends to me. It was just this crazy moment, and I don't know, it's weird. Like when I played music and you do meet and greets, or, you know, talk to people after a show, they're talking to you because they like your music, and it's something that's kind of like just an extension of you. With this event, it was more they know you, and they have more of a connection to you on more of a personal level. You're not just a guy behind some drums or a guy playing guitar. So it was pretty bizarre, but it was really, really cool. And if any of you were watching that were there, thank you. Hope you came up and said hi, because we were just hanging out, just chilling. So it was really awesome. So Storytime Sunday. Storytime Sunday, where does this stem from? Well, I tell stories in my class a lot. I know, I'm a math teacher, not a storytelling teacher. But I feel like people can learn from other people's mistakes, and that's really what these stories are all about. You learn from my stupidity. Today is more of hopefully it's an inspirational one. It's one that motivates me all the time. So, you know, I hope that you can maybe find a little nugget in there that you can extract and cash in for some motivation. Just pulled that one out of my rear. But today it's, how did cheese get me? Can cheese be motivating? No. Making some cheddar. Man, how Swiss poked holes in all of my plans. Oh my gosh. Is Monterey Jack really from Monterey? And was it invented by a guy named Jack? And then did he have a brother named Colby? I don't know. But really what it comes down to is this story is about really how cheese kind of changed my perspective on things. Yeah, and not cheese like actual cheese, but lived in Tillamook, where they make excellent cheese, the best cheese, let's be honest, okay? They make yogurt and ice cream and great stuff like that, dairy products. But my time in Tillamook was interesting. During that time, I became a swimmer. I became a runner, which carried over into college, ran in college. And this beanie, this Tillamook cheese beanie, I wore in my very last race ever. I got to run at the Reebok Nationals in Portland, Oregon. Got invited to run there, and was super intimidating. Starting on the line, like, I think we were in between Notre Dame and like Tennessee. It was really, really freaky as a senior in high school, starting in between two major universities. But there was a race, and this is not metaphorical for the race that you run in life. This was an actual race. I ran the mile and the 3,200, the 1,500 and 3,000, depending on where you live. But it was the race to qualify for like state. I guess it was districts. And it was my senior year, and the race was at Rainier High School. So if you've heard of Mount Rainier, right over there. And And their cross-country course was really weird. You had to run around kind of like this nuclear power plant, and these mutated geese would run out of the bushes and chase you. But this has nothing to do with that. And you see why my students love my stories, because they take up all the class time. This race, it was the mile. It was my final mile as a high schooler. And we take off. Boom. I go. And I'm feeling really good. Now, there were 2 guys in our district at the time, in our area. Well, no, our competition area was spread out. We had like Astoria, Clatskanie, Rainier, Seaside, Tillamook. I think there's one more that I'm forgetting. But there were 2 guys. This guy named Ryan and this crazy guy named Dean. And Dean was a psycho when he ran. And Ryan was just one of those kids that's a freak athlete. And we had a kid on our team named Josh, who was also an amazing runner. And take off on the race. Boom, go. First lap, we're getting the first 400 down. And I look around because I'm feeling good and I'm just in the zone. And that usually didn't happen for me. And I was decent, but I wasn't the best on my team. And we're going, and finally I look around as we're coming around that second curve into the straightaway, and I'm in the lead pack with Ryan and Dean and probably Josh. All I remember is the other guys. Josh was one of those guys in my mind that he was untouchable. But I'm in the lead pack, and I take a second to look at the faces of the people watching the race, and I'm hearing people start chattering. I'm letting them into my zone, and the looks on their faces are utter shock, and kind of dismay, I guess you'd say, and people saying stuff like, why is he going so hard, and he's gonna die after this first lap, and looks of, wow, he shouldn't be there. You shouldn't be there in the top 3 right now. You haven't been top 3 all year. You shouldn't. And maybe that was my own self-conscious, but that was the vibe I was getting from the looks. And they weren't cheering. It wasn't like, let's go, Scotty, come on, let's go. It was like, what? Who does this guy think he is? And I let that get into my head. And I instantly slowed down. Now, I'm saying this with all sincerity. I felt great, and I feel like I could have just killed it in that race. But I let the voices and the opinions of others change my pace, the race I was running, and the way that I felt. I felt amazing, and I could have I don't know what would have happened. You never know what could have happened, because time has passed. It's done. I ended up getting my best time ever, but I ended up dropping way back in the race, and even letting one of my arch nemesis on our team beat me at the very end. And I was smoking him at the the first half of the race. But I let the opinion and the voices of others distract me from how I was feeling and what I was doing. And that's really what I wanted the message I wanted to get across is, after that race, I remember just feeling miserable about myself, thinking I could have made state, like Uncle Rico on Napoleon Dynamite. But I really was disappointed in myself. And the long bus ride home was painful. It really was. And I can't say that about a whole lot of races that I ever ran, or games I participated in. And it hurt. And it's been a long time since I've been in high school, and I still have memories of that day, the looks on people's faces, the weather, the way the track looked, just burned into my memory. Everything, even everything that happened after the race and waiting for the rest of the track meet to be done. I remember all of it, and it hurts. And I decided after that I would take risks. I would take chances. Now, risks not to risk my life, but risks in life when I felt like I needed to go for something. And it's opened some doors, and it's shut some doors. It hasn't worked every single time. You know, the Poor Man's Poison, the band I was in, I took a chance and asked them if I could play with them. It just worked out for a time before we broke up, for several years. And you know, the Fine Brothers thing, at the time they were asking for only for people to send in emails if they were from Southern California. And I took a chance. I was like, hey, I'm from Southern California, but I don't live in Southern California anymore, but I'm willing to drive. And they took a chance on me after I stepped out and put myself out there. So what are you hesitating on? What are you waiting for? What have you experienced this where you should have gone for something and you didn't, and now totally regret it? But be bold. That's really what this whole message comes down to, is step out and be bold. If you're feeling good about something, go for it. It may not work out. That doesn't mean come back and throw, you know, some hate at me because you're like, you told me to go for it and it didn't happen. Now, I'm also not saying you should jump from one rooftop to the other because you're feeling good about it, because you die. So hardcore parkour? No. Go watch that clip from The Office. See what happens to Andy at the very end. But there's just certain things in life. It could be a job. It could be a relationship. It could be bringing up something to your parents. And you're like, man, I really feel strongly about this. I need to say it. And it doesn't always work out. Trust me, I've done that too. And it blows up in your face. But you tried. You put it out there and you learn from it. That's the biggest thing. And you're like, okay, what can I try better next time? What's a better way to approach this? What can I do? Don't be like me. Don't be like the guy that listened to the voices, felt like he shouldn't listen to when they said he shouldn't be in the front of the race, and backed off because I felt great and I feel like I actually could have finished in the top 3. Man, I still remember how that felt. It sucks. And you don't want to have those feelings. Learn from my mistakes. You don't want to live with regrets, those certain regrets. But go for it. That's really the end of this Storytime Sunday. I ran a race. I lost. I didn't lose. I mean, my mile was under 5 minutes. It's pretty fast. I'm not going to tell you the real time. It was pretty fast. To put it in perspective, in college, we would run 10 miles in an hour. That was pretty fast too. But let's say, yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that because I don't want to boast and stuff. But is there a situation you can step out in faith and go for? Is there one that you are holding back on? And again, it may not always work out, but at least you tried. At least you can say you tried, because one of the grossest feelings ever is saying, I should have tried and I didn't, and now someone else took it, because someone will take that spot, whatever it is. That's the first Storytime Sunday. There are more, and they'll be super weird and super cheesy and hopefully sometimes funny. They're not always a super inspirational message of like, don't give up, okay? Don't listen to what other people think. I mean, obviously there are some instances, you know what I'm talking about, but don't let other people get in your head when you are on a mission. And I hope you come back on Tuesday for a Tunes on a Tuesday. It'll be the 3rd week of No Doubt November, right before Thanksgiving. And probably do a Thanksgiving little special on Thursday. But remember, conquistadors, to be a better person tomorrow than you were today, because there's always room for improvement. And I am signing off from Manhattan Beach, California. Gorgeous, gorgeous area. After FBELive 2017, the first of its kind, and YouTube Space LA. So big thanks to Fine Brothers and YouTube Space LA and everybody that worked that thing. thing last night. I mean, like, come on, work that thing. I like the way you park it. No diggity. I'll see you next time on Round Like Me. Take care. Be good people. Bye.